Awesome. Okay, so I had to start over because my dog was acting crazy. And I'm going to go ahead and present. Let's have fun. I'm going to show you exactly how, by the time you're done watching this video today, I'm going to show you the exact analogy that I'm discussing, how network marketing is very similar to the act of farming. So here we go. Da, 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 da. Okay, one major lesson to becoming a great network marketer is what we're going to talk about here in this presentation, and I'm going to give you a hint. You're going to have to get dirty. All right? Network marketing requires the patience and the work ethic of a farmer. And I'm going to explain to you why using a quote from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 through 8. But this way I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. That's just like that old saying, right? You reap what you sow. In network marketing, there's a lot of value that an individual needs to bring to their business, whether they're when they come into a business, you know, how serious they are and how thorough they are about going through the training that's offered in their new business, how often they're on the webinars. I mean, showing up every day to your business is going to make a great impact on whether or not people join you. I see it all the time. People come into a company and they just don't do anything. You know, they might take a look at it or just watch the video, but they don't do the action steps, or they, you know, post a blog here and there, or they, you know, maybe, you know, if they're in MLM, say they're in some sort of weight loss company, they take their before picture, but you never see an after. You know, so you can totally tell how well someone's going to do in this industry. Just like anything else, you are going to reap what you sow. So if you're going to sow small, you're going to reap small. If you're going to sow big, you're going to reap big. So if you're bringing it all, everything that you got when you can. I'm not saying you've got to be a 12 to 16 hour a day person. Not everybody can do that. What I'm saying is that during the time of sowing, you are giving it your 100% full-time attention. So you may be a part-time network marketer, but that doesn't mean you got to give it part-time attitude or part-time attention. That means if you've got an hour a day to do your training and another hour to market your business, then you got to be 100% in that hour of training and 100% in that marketing of your business. A lot of people come in and they get overwhelmed. They don't take it one step at a time, and they kind of get half-assed results. Things just don't happen. So super important, and I love that I found this awesome quote here. Okay, well, let's think of it this way. If we were farmers, we would know a few things, right? We would know that there's a season in which we plant a seed. We would also know that there's a season in which we nurture the seed and the ground we planted in. And then we also know that there's a season in which we harvest it. We would also know that this moves in cycles. A big thing I see is somebody may come in strong and do a bunch of training and a bunch of, you know, blogs, and they'll let people know what they're doing, and they'll demonstrate the growth they're experiencing, and then they just kind of disappear, and nothing really happens, and they don't talk about that, and they don't continue to grow. They just kind of let things go, and you know, they get busy with something else. Maybe they get shiny ball syndrome and they go and join something else or whatever, and then when it comes time to harvest, there's nothing left to harvest. There's nothing there because they let it waste. They didn't water the seed every single day. You know, a new plant, a growing plant, needs a half-inch of water per day. So if you're not going out there to water your garden, guess what's not going to happen? The seeds aren't going to grow. If you don't weed the plot, you know, say you have a little 4x4 garden. I mean, I can tell you, I can demonstrate this in my own garden. When we have vegetables, there's a whole different attitude about how we approach our gardening plot when we were growing them compared to times where we get busy with something else and we don't continue. You know, if you're not weeding out the stuff that will steal the water from the seed, you're going to have a very poor harvest. So don't just get real good about planting the seed. Make sure that you understand that you've got to get real good about nurturing the seed in order for you to harvest what you deserve to harvest. Okay? Now in Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, it says this, and I want you to listen to this. Write this down. Go get a pen if you don't have one. I want you to get a blue pen, and I want you to write this down. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. I'm going to say it one more time. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Continue on the good work, and you will see the harvest. If you get weary and you faint right here in this middle section, it's going to fall apart on you, and nothing's going to happen. I just love this picture of the seasons, so I figured I'd show it to y'all. Now, if you've laid a good seed and you've tended your crops and it comes time for you to harvest, you are going to you will see things gather around you that you never believed. I love this picture, first of all, because it's beautiful. Second of all, because you see the children are laughing and the dogs playing and the kids are hiding underneath the wheat, and they're the moms and the sisters and the brothers and the fathers and the dog in the distance, and things are happening here. Why? Because these people worked. They worked hard to produce. They were diligent in their work. They made sure that they were 100% for whatever time they had to spend in that field. They were 100%. What's that old saying that from Abraham Lincoln? If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 5 sharpening my axe. This is what's happening here, and that's why they're having a bountiful harvest. Now, there's something else that we've got to learn how to do. We must learn how to separate the chaff from the wheat. Now, that's an old saying. There's actually a plant that grows in the wheat, around the wheat, that, it's not even like a weed you can pull. It's something that you have to deal with at the time of harvest. It's called the chaff. Now, it's better for us as network marketers to deal with the chaff throughout the experience, during the seed planting, during the nurturing, and during the harvest. Now, chaff can be a few different things. I just put a couple examples here. Negative people. If you've got somebody that's negative, you got your poor uncle asking you, is that a pyramid scheme you're in? If you've got the TV on all the time and the news is playing. If you're caught up with watching too much entertainment, you really have to find a time and a place for that, just like there's a time and a place for everything, right? But it can't be your primary thing. When you get home from work, if you still have a job out there, if you get home from work and the first thing you do is turn on the TV and pop open a beer and kick your feet up and say, oh, let me just relax a little bit before I get to work. Let me just relax. You're going to fall apart. It's just not going to work out for you guys. So you've got to be committed to letting go of extraneous media, news, and TV. You've got to let go of your own bad attitudes. You've got to do whatever you can to remove them using some wordplay and some physiological, Anthony Robbins kind of stuff where you just sit up a little taller and bounce your chest a little bit. And you have to really be diligent about removing negative people from your life. So if you're marketing your business on Facebook and you've got people being negative on your Facebook at all, I've done trainings on it. I'm not going to go over it again. I don't want to see this post, and if they're really bad, go ahead and delete and block them. You don't need it. It's your life, okay? So in order for you to produce the best harvest you can, you have to nurture the ground the best way possible. And if you're allowing the chaff throughout the process, you are going to fail, guaranteed, okay? Now, what's the wheat? What's the good stuff? Positive people, being organized. You might want to tackle $1 million day or two. Get your office space organized at the very least. Get a nice calendar. Put up something pretty around yourself. If you love something, like I really love Buddhas and taras and crystals and stuff. So I have them all around my office in eyesight and in camera view. If you've noticed in my videos, I absolutely love that. So it makes me feel good. I keep my office area extremely clean. and it makes me feel good. So you're automatically in a feng shui kind of place. So get organized. Make sure you write lists. I would highly suggest, if you can't start big, start small and do a list for the next day. What you hope to accomplish the next day. Do it before you go to sleep. That's key to doing it at that time. Make sure you're using a blue pen on a white piece of paper. Super important. I've got a video about that, so check it out. Make sure that you're reading, taking time away from the computer. I know it's hard. I know you guys, most of you are still working a job. I know. I totally feel you, but you've got to take 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And read. However fast you can read in that 5 minutes. Something that's going to uplift your spirit. Okay? Whether you read the Bible, whether you read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, whether you read The Slight Edge, whether you read a book by Anthony Robbins, whether you read, Brennan Bouchard's The Charge, whether you read The Healing... there's a million books out there, guys, that are going to uplift your spirit. Take 5 minutes a day and make sure you get to it. Absolutely. And make sure that you're attending webinars that uplift you. Yesterday I did a video about, or the day before, it was the day before, I did a video about respectfully declining invites on Facebook. Now, this is a really good time for you to be really aware of this. If you've got a business and you already have what you want to work on, you already have passion, you believe in it, definitely do not go to webinars that are strictly promotional. Stick with webinars that are bringing you value first. Okay, I've got a lot of people coming to this webinar this Thursday that probably have no interest whatsoever in the Internet Lifestyle Network. But that doesn't mean they can't come to the webinar, because as a company we bring the value. So they're going to come and they're going to learn some really awesome stuff that can be applied to anything. Everything that we learn in ILN can be applied to any business. So make sure that the webinars you're attending are uplifting you. They're not confusing you. They're not bringing you down another path. Make sure that they're teaching you something and making you feel good, making you feel happy. This is what it means to separate the chaff. Okay, chaff is lighter than wheat. So I'm gonna read first to you Matthew 3:12, and this is a really powerful scripture. So I'm gonna read it to you, and then I'm gonna tell you my interpretation. Okay, whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat unto the gardener, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. I'm going to read it one more time. This is King James Version, so it's not a language we're used to speaking in. Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. Make sure, you ever notice, we're going to stick on the farming thing, you ever notice a horse, when the flies are landing on the horse, what's the horse always doing? Whacking his tail to and fro, right? He's constantly creating air and smacking the air all around him to keep the flies from landing and staying long. So are the cows. So any kind of animal. You will see this happening. When you are fanning the positivity in your life, when you're fanning around yourself, the people, which is the chaff and the negativity that happens around your life, will not be able to withstand the fanning, the wind that you produce with your forward motion. They will not be able to stay and stick to you and bite you and sting you if you're producing wind with your forward motion. Okay? And that chaff that will be quenched, that'll be cast aside of you, will go into an unquenchable fire. That fire is what burns inside of you to help you achieve the dreams and desires and reach the level of the life that you deserve to live. But you've got to be moving quick enough for there to be a wind created about you so the chaff will fall away. other thing here. This is very important. I always believed and truly believe, and I know this is true. Action is your way of demonstrating your faith. Okay? It's time for you to take inventory of yourself and ask yourself, are you taking action? Are you tending to your trainings? Are you nurturing your own growth? Are you teaching what you learn? Do you have faith? And are your actions demonstrating your faith? Well, I can say for sure, one thing's for sure, no matter what, your actions are demonstrating your level of faith, one way or another. You ever notice somebody will come into your business or go into someone else's business, whatever, however you observe this, but I know you've seen it. It could be yourself. You could have done it yourself in a business, okay? Don't knock yourself for it. I totally have been there. You know, do you walk into a business and you don't take action and you don't tend to the trainings and you don't nurture your growth within there and you don't even learn anything to teach anything to anybody, and you don't develop the faith in the business and what you're doing, and it kind of falls to the wayside. Your actions totally, when you don't embrace what it is you've made a decision on, you're demonstrating the amount of faith you have in the decision you make. Rich people make quick decisions, but they also make them firmly, and they follow them all the way through. So if you find yourself kind of being flaky about it or wishy-washy about it, take inventory, okay? Sit down and look again and make a decision for yourself, because you're doing no good for your own purpose or your team or nothing if you're not fully invested in your future. Okay, so it's time to understand that your actions are demonstrating the level of faith that you have, no matter what. So your lack of action is showing your lack of faith. And I see this sometimes, and I see it in other people. I know I've done it myself. Totally have done it myself. I know that my last major MLM, which was a few years ago, it seems like already. It's over a year and a half now. I was with the company for a couple of years. And towards the last 6 months, I mean really hardcore, I had zero faith in it. And it totally showed. I wasn't doing anything. Nothing was happening. I wasn't even talking about it. I certainly wasn't participating in any of the weight loss aspects of it. It just, nothing was going down. I'd lost faith, and I was showing it through my lack of action. And I knew what I had to do, so I had to move on from it. Sometimes what you need to do is strengthen yourself in it. So you have to be able to determine what that is. And if you don't have a lot of self-awareness, okay, that's something that Anthony talked about. Anthony and Justin talked about tonight. You have to become really aware, not only of other things, but yourself. And you have to be discerning and diligent in it. Next slide. We might be close to the end. We are! That is today's video. Sorry if I yelled. I want to thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you staying for the entire video, and I hope that I brought you a lot of value today. Well, I know I brought you a lot of value today, because that's just what I do. I love that. And I hope that you have a really great night. I'm exhausted. You can tell I'm starting to, like, blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much, everybody. You know, go over those points again. You can pause this video. I'll put timestamps in the description so that you can go to the particular slide. And I know that this is enjoyable, and share it. Make a video of your own like this. If you want, if you're on my team, you let me know. I'm gonna hook you up with something. Anyway, if you're not on my team yet, I really want you to take a good hard look at the top link in the description, because that's where that link always is. I want you to meet my Millionaire Mentor. I want you to take a really good look at it and move on from there, and go ahead and look at the presentation for the company, because our entry level is going to change. The price point's going to change soon. I got some secret inside information, people telling me stuff, and right now it's $37 to be an apprentice in our system. Now that's an incredible entry level. It's going up. I don't know when, and I don't know how, but I do know one thing. You're going to want to get in there now, as fast as you possibly can, before that happens, because things are moving and shaking pretty quick over here. And, you know, life is good. You got this. I hope to goodness gracious that you saw that entire thing. Thank you so much. I'm out. I love you. Love you long time. Bye.